Kill her! Nyra's tail whipped sideways as the spear sliced past her head. She spun, ducked, kicked upward straight into a guard's jaw. Bone cracked. Blood clouded the water. She didn't know why they were attacking. She just knew they wore the king's crest. 3 more rushed her. She turned hard and shot between coral columns, heart pounding, salt stinging her eyes. Her fins bled, her chest burned. She could barely breathe. But they kept coming. The gemless freak. Don't let her reach the surface. She had no gem, no magic, no weapon. But she knew these waters better than they did. She banked left straight into the trench. Too deep, too dark, too dangerous. That's what the story said, that no one ever came back. But she'd rather take her chances with the monsters down there than the ones wearing royal armor. A blade slashed her arm as she dove. She screamed and the ocean answered. The water around her pulsed. The light bent. Something ancient moved in the shadows. And the guards stopped, floated, then turned and ran. She wasn't just gemless anymore. She was called. Nyra sank. Blood streamed from her arm, swirling with bioluminescent trails. Her vision blurred until the trench went pitch black. Then, eyes opened. Not hers. Dozens. Around her, glowing faint blue. She didn't move. Something moved for her. A current wrapped around her body and pulled her into a narrow cavern. The walls pulsed like veins. At the center, a massive shell cracked and humming. You are not supposed to be here. The voice wasn't spoken. It bloomed inside her skull. Nyra tried to speak, but no sound came. The water was thicker here, denser, like memory. You were born wrong. You were hidden. But I felt your scream. The shell cracked wider. Inside it, a fossilized gem the size of her fist, black, veined, and pulsing. They took your birthright. I offer it back. Her chest burned, right where others had gems. Something beneath her skin pulsed in sync with the fossil. She reached out. The moment her fingers brushed it, the cavern exploded with light. Above, in the palace chapel, every priest's gem cracked in half. Far below, Nyra opened her eyes, and they were glowing black. Nyra floated above the cracked fossil shell, gasping, her chest searing in pain. She looked down. There was something embedded beneath her skeena mark, like black coral, pulsing faintly. Not a gem, a seal. Above her, the water shimmered and the voice returned. You are not blessed. You are bound, and the ocean has waited long enough. Suddenly, a pulse shot outward from her chest. A black wave rippled through the trench, shaking sea rocks loose, turning coral dark as ink. Above, in Avalora, alarms rang. Guardians held their heads in pain. Gem-bearing merfolk collapsed, clutching their chests. Something's wrong, the High Oracle gasped. Something gemless is rising. In the trench, Nyra pushed upward, but her body felt different. Faster, heavier, stronger. A noise behind her. The guards from before were back, hovering in a defensive formation. Their leader's eyes widened. She's changed. Take her, someone yelled. Nyra raised her hand and the water obeyed. A shockwave blasted them backward, snapping spears, bending armor. She didn't know how she did it. But she wasn't running anymore. The oracle stared into the cracked reflection pool, trembling. The water showed Nyra's black, chest marked, alive. She survived the purge, the oracle whispered. King Vayar turned. You told me the curse would die with her. I was wrong, the oracle admitted. She wasn't born gemless. She was born sealed. Everyone in the chamber froze. The queen stepped forward. Sealed? With what? A fragment of the ocean core, the first gem, the one we buried. You said it was lost, the king growled. I lied. The oracle's hand shook. I saw what it would do. No one should wield it. So I convinced the priest to hide the truth. When she was born, glowing black, we panicked. We couldn't let her grow. So you sentenced an infant to death. She's no longer a girl, the oracle said. She's a vessel now, and if she returns, she won't need an army. Far below, Nyra floated through the trench, the mark glowing faint, and somewhere deeper, something massive stirred. "Come find me," the ocean whispered. The trench erupted. Nyra shot upward like a spear, the mark on her chest pulsing black. Behind her, the rocks cracked open, and something ancient screamed. She didn't stop to look back. Above, a patrol of royal guards swam fast, 5 of them, armed, ready. They saw her coming and hesitated. One reached for his horn to sound the alarm. Too late. Nyra slammed into him with full force, smashing him against the coral wall. His gem shattered on impact. She spun mid-current and struck another with a blast of water so sharp it cut through his armor. The others surrounded her. "Yield," one shouted. "You're cursed, stand down." Nyra answered by summoning a vortex beneath them. It dragged 2 guards into the dark, screaming as they vanished into the trench. "She's not gemless," one cried. "She's something else." He didn't finish. Nyra launched forward, kicked his spear aside, and drove him into the ocean floor. Only one was left. He turned to run. Nyra let him go. "Tell your king," she hissed. "The ocean gave me back." She turned toward the golden glow of Avalora, now rising in the distance. She was done hiding. The gates of Avalora were never meant to be breached from below. But Nyra wasn't knocking. She shot up from the trench's edge like a cannon, tearing through kelp barricades and reef defenses. Shockwaves rippled across the outer domes. Merchants screamed. Children ducked. Soldiers scrambled. "Breached perimeter," shouted a guard. "She's alone," said another. "Then why is the water shaking?" a third whispered. Nyra hovered above the central plaza. Her black mark pulsed. Citizens backed away. Some screamed. Others just stared because they recognized her. The gemless number. That's not possible. She looked up at the golden tower, where the king once held her fate. Then she launched. A trail of boiling water followed her. She slammed into the palace gates. Steel-banded shells split in 2. Guards poured out, but none dared strike. She hovered mid-air, eyes locked on the throne balcony. "You tried to drown me," she said, voice echoing unnaturally. "Now hear me drown your lies." She raised her arms. The fountains of the city turned black. Every gem in the tower began to crack. And for the first time in a century, the ocean raged against its rulers. King Vayar didn't hesitate. "She's declared war," he said coldly. "So give her one." He slammed his trident into the floor. The throne room responded, columns split, summoning the elite, the depth guard. 12 warriors, born with twin gems, trained to kill gods. "Find the girl," Vayar ordered. "Bring me her body, intact if possible, shattered if necessary." Below, the city trembled. Nyra stood in the plaza, fountains boiling behind her. Merfolk fled or hid, unsure whether to fear her or worship her. She didn't wait for either. A ripple passed through the water. She turned. 12 shapes advanced, perfect formation, armored, glowing. No warning, no mercy. The first lunged. Nyra blocked the spear with a spin, parried, and hurled a wave that knocked 2 backward. But one got behind her, stabbed low. She grunted. Blood bloomed. Still, she rose. She hit back harder. The street cracked. Coral exploded. Sea glass windows shattered. She wasn't winning, but she wasn't falling either. Then another pulse. The mark on her chest flared. Black light shot upward like a beacon. And deep beneath the city, something answered. The depth guard froze. Not because Nyra had stopped fighting, but because the sea had changed. The current reversed. Tides spiraled. A pressure crushed the plaza like an invisible hand. Nyra clutched her chest. The black mark glowing so bright it pulsed through her skin. Her vision blurred. A voice gnawed her store from her throat. "He rises." Then the ground split. The trench that had once nearly buried her cracked through Avalora's outer wall. From the black beyond came a shape too massive to measure. Tentacles of ancient coral. a crown made of sea stone, eyes older than memory. The depth guard turned in terror. No, that's not a creature. That's a god. They fled. Even the bravest among them. Nyra floated upward, body glowing with black light. The god below didn't speak, but it didn't have to. Everyone in the kingdom felt the command. She is not your curse. She is my vessel. The ocean roared as statues cracked and temple bells rang without touch. King Vear's throne split down the center. The sea no longer belonged to crowns or gems. It now answered only to her. The throne room was flooding. Guards abandoned post. Jewel light cracked from the ceilings. Statues of old queens tumbled into the sand. Only 2 figures remained, Queen Nyra and her daughter the Gemless made godbound. Nyra hovered just above the broken throne, her voice laced with ocean force. You let them throw me away? Nyra didn't cry. She didn't beg. She stepped forward. I carried you. I held you. And I watched the oracle lie to the king. You said nothing, because I thought they were right. Nyra's glow faltered. You thought I was a curse. No, Nyra whispered. I knew you were prophecy. She raised her hands. In them Nyra's original gem. Black, cracked, hidden all these years. I kept it from them, but I couldn't keep you safe. Nyra stared at it. Her chest mark throbbed in response. Then a shadow flickered behind Nyra. Too late. A blade struck. Queen Nyra gasped, eyes wide, and sank bleeding from the back. King Vear stepped forward, blade dripping. If the ocean wants war, he hissed, I'll show it what a king can do. Nyra didn't scream. She roared. The moment Queen Nyra hit the floor, everything changed. Nyra's eyes burned pitch black. Her scream became a shockwave ripping through the palace, crumbling stone and shattering columns. The ocean itself trembled. King Vear raised his blade again. But he never struck. Because the god below had risen. Through the cracks in the city floor, the ancient sea titan emerged, crowned in coral flame. Its eyes locked on the king. It didn't speak. It just opened its mouth. And the ocean surged in. Water blasted through Avalora like a living weapon. Thrones flipped. Soldiers scattered. The tide was no longer water, it was Nyra's will. Vear tried to run. Nyra caught him in a whirlpool, lifted him high. You called me curse. She crushed his gem between her fingers. I was always the tide. She released him. He vanished into the dark. Later, as calm returned, the city floated in silence. Merfolk gathered in the ruins. No throne, no king. Only her glowing, breathing, watching. She has no gem, someone whispered. She doesn't need one, said another. She has the sea. And Nyra once thrown away opened her hand. The ocean bowed. The moral lesson of this story is that true worth is not defined by how others see you, but by what you choose to become.